feeling is an active action. It's an action. If you stop feeling, you're going to stop thinking, and it's not going to work. You've got to actively feel what's going on in your flesh. And by feeling what's going on in your flesh, for the first time of your life, maybe, you're going to be completely intimate with your emotion.
Welcome to the Lara Jane Layton Show. This podcast is for you, the person who keeps putting others first. Your self-talk has held you back. You no longer need to take a second seat. Let's explore ways to overcome self-doubt. You can silence that inner bully voice and achieve your full potential. Here's your host, Lara Jane.
Welcome to the show, friend. My new best friend, Cedric's with me, and we are going to have so much fun today. We're talking about those emotions. Have you ever had those emotions that just bring you down and you just spiral and you can't get it out of your head? Maybe somebody said something to you and you didn't know what they meant, and all of a sudden you're just cycling. It's like, oh no, my best friend's mad at me and I don't know what to do. I can't live. Okay, so that's a little overboard. But you know what I mean? Sometimes it just really goes beyond our reasonable mind because they're not reasonable, they're emotions. So how do we get them back under control? And Cedric's going to help us with that. But before we get started, we're going to get a quick word from our sponsor. We come back. Cedric, help me spiral up. We'll be right back. Hey, since I rarely have openings in my coaching schedule, I have a new resource out there on my website. It is called the BFF Coaching Network. And I have offered a spot there for any coach that has been on this show to list their coaching. You can go out there, you can listen to their episodes, you can feel a little bit about them, and then choose a coach that will work for you. So LaraJaneLayton.com, the BFF Coaching Network. All right, the information about using the show notes. So let's do this. Because sometimes I can just, I can spiral down. One little thing, and I was like, he didn't put a garbage sack in the garbage again. Can't he get this right? He hates me. Okay, I'm making that up, but it's that same thing. We have stupid things that will spiral us in the wrong direction. So help me turn it around.
Well, I'll do my best. Hi, Lara Jane.
Hi.
Thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Yes. So talk to me about these emotions.
Well, I could tell you how debilitating emotional patterns are created and why they're stuck with us, if you want to.
Yes, let's do it.
Because I think there is a lot of mysticism about emotions, right? There's a Freudian view, and it's kind of blurry what an emotion is. And some of us, we don't like to look at them. Some of us, we don't like them, so we deny them. Some of us are overwhelmed by them. But I think it helps to understand how an emotion is made. And we know that nowadays. So I'll be happy to share that with you. A part of my work is to vulgarize what emotions are. So let's vulgarize it. Here we're going to talk about emotional difficulties that keep on coming back in our life, such as anxiety, guilt, shame, resentment, all those emotions that stick to us. And often these emotions are not congruent with our current reality. So I guess my work is to allow people to feel the emotions that are congruent with what is actually happening in their current ecosystem. So how is an emotion made? Well, there's two things we need to have in mind. The first thing is a fact. We need to know that one of the main jobs of our brain is to predict. Our brain constantly predicts based on past experiences. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you are about to have a cup of coffee in the morning. Before you have your first sip, your brain, your body already knows exactly the experience you're going to have. In a way, you're testing the coffee even before trying it. Same thing with an apple or with a lemon. You predict the way it's going to taste before you eat it. You'll see it's the same thing for an emotion. An emotion we're going to see is an outdated prediction from the brain. So fact number one, the brain constantly predicts. That is what keeps us ahead of the game. Fact number two, we understand today that at the origin of our debilitating emotional pattern is always an instant of trauma. So in order for us to have an emotion, a negative emotion, so to speak, to keep on coming back over and over again, at the origin is always an instant of trauma. Now, what is a trauma? A trauma is simply an instant that holds too much stress, physical or emotional, for us to take on at the moment when we experience it. So for my 4-year-old girl, for example, something might feel like a trauma, it may be too much for her, and for me be like nothing. It really depends on where we are in life. But that's what a trauma is. A trauma is an instant that holds too much stress, physical or emotional, for us to take on at that instant. Now, what creates the pattern, if we want to go a bit further, is not the trauma per se. No, what creates the pattern is the instant of dissociation that we experience during a trauma. Let's say, let's imagine that I've been sexually abused. Let's say that the abuse lasted 5 minutes. I guarantee you that within those 5 minutes, I dissociated several times. Every time there's a dissociation, it is the seed for potentially, sometimes, not always, often enough, I would say, a debilitating emotional pattern to start again later in my life. Now, what is happening during those instants of dissociation? Well, what you and I currently were gathering consciously is about 2,000 bits of information per second. That is consciously. Mm-hmm. And this is processed at a speed of about 150 miles per hour. Wow. But that's nothing, because subconsciously, our subconscious has the potential to gather 400 billion bits of information per second. 400 billion versus 2,000. And to process the information at a speed of 150,000 miles per hour. So these are the numbers from the Penn University. They came out in 2012, and you can look for the numbers. They vary a little bit, but it's always on the same range. For example, if I could do a metaphor, and that would be pretty accurate, the conscious is like a marble, and the subconscious potential is like the Everest mountain. Okay. So when we are together and everything is fine, the prefrontal cortex is filtering information. So I'm not bombarded by 400 billion bits of information per second. So there is a constant filter that allows me to have by this conversation, my job, life in society. But when there is dissociation because of intense stress, because of trauma, when there is dissociation, the conscious mind disconnects. There is a shutdown. We call that dissociation. And when the conscious mind disconnects, shut down, and why does it do that? It does that so we don't suffer too much during the trauma. It's a protective mechanism. But when there is dissociation, the subconscious takes over. And what does that mean? It's like, imagine a vortex opening up and gathering all the information happening around you at a very high speed, at a very high definition. And those information are very pragmatic. Smell, shapes, temperature, taste. It gathers all the information without understand them in a non-linear way, in a non-logical way. When there is dissociation, this vortex open and gather all the information available around you and the information happening inside of you, meaning the physical sensations that you're experiencing in that type of context. Am I being clear so far?
Yeah. I totally get it.
Great. And so that's what's happening during this moment dissociation. And then the vortex shut down, so to speak. I'm back into being present, and it might reopen again if the stress continues. Okay, so this happens. This happens a lot in our life. From the moment we're in utero up until nowadays, we experience tenth of those moments. For example, I remember I was in my 30s and had the phone call. I was in the States. My father was in France. I had the phone call that my mom passed away, completely unexpected. And when I had this phone call, I know that I had this moment dissociation. Like it was a trauma, so to speak. So we live that our entire life for different reasons. But anyway, we have those experiences. And later on, as we go on in life, when the brain or the body recognizes one or several elements, a taste, a situation, a noise sometimes, whatever it is, when the brain recognizes one element that was present during a past trauma, the brain is going to instantly and automatically generate the physical sensations, predict the physical sensations that you're about to feel based on what was felt during the specific trauma. So let's say I'm in a crowded space and I remind my brain of a specific trauma, absolutely not related to what I'm living now. The brain is going to predict what physical sensations I'm about to feel. So I might feel a tension in my throat, my heart beating up, and sick in my stomach. When I enter a room full of people, I feel those sensations. I conceptualize it maybe as um, mm, social anxiety, let's say. But what is an emotion, the way that we talk about it, you and I? An emotion is a conceptualization of what I feel in my body. It's a conceptualization of what we call interoception, which are the physical sensations that we feel in our body. Those physical sensations that let us know that we feel an emotion, they are nothing else but an outdated prediction from the brain.
My brain's really good at predicting, but it's not always right.
It's the case for everybody. Yes.
Yeah. So as we are, as we trigger that prediction mode, the emotions, if I'm understanding everything that you're saying, the emotions that we experienced back then, the fear or the what's next, can come back too and cause us same sensations in our body. And, I've always been one that says, I'm not really had trauma, but I've definitely had those things where you just breathe through, I got to get through this. This is not easy. And it's just a different level of trauma. And so you may not have as many emotions come flying back, but there's still something. It's still that reaction we get when we encounter someone, that smell. That guy smelled like that, or where you've got the associations like, oh no, I had a mother-in-law that every time the phone would ring, somebody was in a tragic accident. I wonder who's hurt, so the phone to her triggered somebody's hurt or died, not anything like, oh, I wonder which friend's calling me now. And so how do we rewire that to be the good things instead of always thinking somebody's been hurt?
Yep. Yeah, it's a beautiful question and a radical question. That's the question that we want to ask, right? First of all, I like to say that it's not necessary to know what trauma or what experience created our current reaction. It is not necessary. And I was saying 75% of the cases, people come to see me saying, oh, I'm feeling this way because of this. And in 75% of the cases, that's not the case. We like to cognitively find bridges. It makes us feel safer. I feel this way because of this. And well, it might be true or not, but if that makes you feel better, then you can believe that. Who cares, right? The fact is you don't need to know why you're feeling a certain emotion to resolve it. And when you said something very important, you said, well, I didn't live a lot of trauma. There is not, people nowadays speak about big T trauma and small T trauma. I think it's bullshit, if I may. A trauma is a trauma. We don't need to know where it's coming from. And if you today in your life, you're feeling some things that don't feel right, well, let's take care of that. I often tell my clients, we cannot heal trauma. Trauma healing doesn't exist. It sounds good. It looks good on book cover, but trauma healing doesn't exist. Why? Because trauma happened. Trauma happened. There's nothing we can do about it. It's in the past. But what we can do is resolve or heal the wounds that this trauma created in our current life. That's what matters. The way that we feel today is what matters. The way that we feel today, we can resolve or rectify.
Well, that sounds way better than trying to figure out how it all started so you could cut it off way back then. Correct. So how do I change my response when something happens?
I'm going to tell you.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to tell you very pragmatically, and that's something that you can do. That's something that I do in my life, and that's something that people who listen to us can do. It's very pragmatic. It's very simple. Actually, it's very simple to resolve a debilitating emotional pattern. As we said earlier, those physical sensations that make us create a story, such as your mother-in-law who died, it's just physical sensation, and then the cognitive takes over. Those physical sensations is an outdated prediction from the brain. The reason why those predictions come back, for example, every time the phone rings for your mother-in-law here, the reason why those predictions come back is because we control them. Either way, we control what's going on in our environment to shut them down, or we control them by breathing, maybe stretching, having a glass of liquor, smoking a joint, something. We always, one way or another, control the physical sensation that we feel during an emotion, consciously or subconsciously. And even if we are angry and we scream, that's also a way to control, because the scream is releasing the tension that we feel in the body. If we feel extreme sadness and we cry, in a way, it's also a way to control, because the crying is actually easing. The crying is used by the brain as a short circuit to shut down the emotion because it went too far. No, in order to resolve a debilitating emotional pattern, the secret, so to speak, which is not a secret, is written everywhere. It is to let the prediction play out until the end without controlling it, or without anybody to control it. For example, if, I don't know, your daughter is being sad, what do we do as a parents? We go and we try to control it. And it's, of course, we have to be there for our kids. But there's a fine difference into being there and attentive and present and trying to control what somebody around us feels or we feel. So how to resolve a debilitating emotional pattern? Well, the easiest way is when you feel the emotion, whatever it is, right? It can be anxiety, it doesn't matter, a phobia, it doesn't matter. The first thing that you do is, okay, recognize it. Don't try to shut it down. Don't try to power through it. Don't try to understand. You feel it. The key is you realize there is something in you that doesn't feel good. That's it. That. At this point, what you will do is you're going to close your eyes. And closing the eyes is important, not so much to shut down what's going on around you. That's what people think. Yes, it's useful to shut down the stimuli. But the reason why you want to close your eyes is to see if your body feels safe or not. Do you know what is the first sign of fear in a mammal, like a horse, a cow, or a dog? What is the first sign of fear?
I have no idea.
At the Emotional Health Institute, we work with veterinarians who do this work that we call MRES with cows and ponies and horses. And by observing those animals, we notice that the first sign of fear in a mammal is that they stop blinking.
Oh.
So they stare, which makes sense, right? They stare so they can see what's going on. It is the same thing for us as humans. So when we feel this emotion, we're going to close our eyes to make sure that we can close our eyes and feeling okay with that. If you try to close your eyes and all you want to do is peek around, it's because your brain, your body doesn't feel safe. You will notice, and often there is a difference between cognitively knowing that you're safe and actually, when you close your eyes, not being comfortable to do so. You've got to be able to close your eyes and feel comfortable to do so. That's very important. If not, it's not going to work. So you feel the emotion that you don't want to feel anymore. You close your eyes, and you feel comfortable to do so. After that, you're going to bring your attention to your body. You're going to feel 2 or 3 sensations at once. So not only one. If you only feel, for example, your throat or your heart, it's not going to be enough, because you can still feel a sensation and think. It's important to feel 2 or 3 sensations at once so that your cognitive is fully engaged into the body, into the flesh, and there is no room for thoughts. That's the first important step. Once you close your eyes and you're comfortable to do so, feel the sensations in your body. And I often tell my clients, feeling a sensation, feeling is an active action. It's an action. If you stop feeling, you're going to start thinking, and it's not going to work. You've got to actively feel what's going on in your flesh. And by feeling what's going on in your flesh, for the first time of your life, maybe, you're going to be completely intimate with your emotion. Because usually you surf the emotional wave. You try to survive it. You take action based on how it feels inside. But we never become intimate with how it feels, this emotion. So when we feel the sensation for the first time, for some of us, we're intimate with what's going on in us. We're not into reaction. We are into feeling. That's the first stage. Now, you're going to notice that when you pay attention to your sensations, those sensations are not going to stay static. They are going to transform, to move. It's normal. It is a prediction. So your role is going to be to do nothing other than to feel the sensations as they change in you. That means if you have a hard time breathing, don't take a deep breath. Because if you take a deep breath, you stop, you interrupt the prediction. If you have tension in your neck, don't try to relax your neck because you interrupt the prediction. Every time you interrupt the prediction, the brain registers that as it must be a danger because she controls it. So it's important to be in attention with the physical sensations, like a journey a little bit in the body for as long as the sensations are present and then they fade away. This time of the sensation being present and changing in the body takes between 2 and 90 seconds, never more. This is how long an emotion lasts. So we feel like our emotion lasts for hours and hours and hours. That's not the case. We're feeling in a funk for hours and hours and hours because either way we keep on thinking about a problem and the emotion is being re-triggered, or we're building emotion upon emotion. We have a fear and then we feel shame and then we feel resentment and etc., etc., etc. We build up emotion upon emotion, but an actual emotion lasts between 2 and 90 seconds. Now, the brain, as we said, the subconscious, can trigger information at the speed of 150,000 miles per hour. That means that within 2 minutes, you can trigger a lot of different emotions. But here the key is you want to enter when you notice the emotion so that the brain doesn't trigger another one. So I'm going to repeat myself. You're feeling a funk. There's something happening as soon as you can, as soon as you notice. Boom, close your eyes. Make sure you can close them and be okay with that. Move your attention to your body. What physical sensations are you feeling? What makes you notice that you feel this emotion? Dry mouth, tight throat, heart beating stronger. Keep your attention engaged in what's going on in the body. The sensations are going to start moving. You feel, you do nothing other than feeling. I would say intensely, right? Actively engaged in an engaged way. You feel until the emotion abates. It is when you can be with your outdated prediction until the end of the prediction that this emotion will resolve. Why? Because at the end of the prediction, your brain is expecting to be hit by some kind of danger, just like what happened years ago. But at the end of this prediction, you're safe and sound. Nothing is happening. From that very instant, the prediction is updated and will not come back. This is how we learn in life. We update prediction constantly. We don't do it with debilitating emotional pattern because it's uncomfortable in our body. So we take control because, of course, we don't like to be uncomfortable. We don't like to be out of control. So in a way, that's the secret, to let the prediction playing out in our flesh until the end. So the brain realizes that at the end of this prediction, we're safe and sound. The prediction will be updated.
Okay. So, I'm one that's been really good at just shutting off my emotion.
Don't do it.
This is not.
I'm kidding.
I remember years of just feeling robotic. Like I'm just pushing through the day and there's no me left. There's just task, sleep. So, as when you sit and you say, tune into it, feel it, let it happen. It's like it's scary to let it take control. And my mind says, I want to control that. I want to tell it what to do. And so obviously I'm holding on to my past traumas.
But what you're describing is, I think, what a large majority of people do, right? They feel like the emotions going to take over. But I think it's the reverse. As long as it's just a fear of sensations. They're just sensations. As long as we try to control them, this is when they control us. Because you only have to be with the physical sensations. The physical sensations are just uncomfortable. That's the story or the fear that scares us. But at the end of the day, they're just past. They're like ghosts, Laura Jane. They're like ghosts. Those physical sensations, they come from the past. And just like ghosts, all they got to do in order to leave us alone is to be felt, to be seen, you will say, but to be felt. So the brain realizes those ghosts are nothing to do here and they can go back to where they belong, to the past. As long as we power through, and we all do, I mean, I do it too still. Yeah? As long as we power through, because we're afraid of what? There's nothing to be afraid of. They're just sensations. They control us like puppet as long as we control them or deny them.
Well, in my head, I would be more like, I don't have time for this right now. But you're saying it's only 90 seconds. Do
Exactly.
I have 90 seconds? Do I have a minute and a half? That makes it sound longer than 90 seconds. Do I have a minute and a half? And yes, I do. Even in the middle of a meeting, I could kind of tune in for a minute and a half. Unless I was the one leading it.
Yes, and then if you're the one leading it and you realize that you couldn't do it, then you can call me or somebody who do this work that we train, and they can help you to use a past situation to resolve something. But it's about priority, right? Do we want to take 90 seconds or less to resolve something that has been with us for years and that will continue to be with us for years? Yes, I think it should be a priority because it drained the life out of us. And if I'm in a meeting and I don't feel comfortable, I feel tense, sweaty, but I have to hide them, right? So I have to hide those sensations. So it's a double stress on me. I feel the anxiety and then I put a lot of pressure on me to look cool and relax. It's extremely stressful. No wonder at the end of the day, I have no energy for my kids. No wonder at the end of the day, I have no energy to take a book and read or having a drink with a friend. I don't have it in me because all day my energy is being depleted from me. And yes, because of the society in which we're living, we don't want to take this time. We don't feel like we have the right all the time to take this time. Creating this work, I observed a lot my grandfather. My grandfather was a World War II veteran. He died a couple years ago. He was 101. And you could see people like him. I come from rural France, a very small village, 90 people. My grandfather worked in the vineyard and in the wood his whole life. And he worked with men and women who had a similar experience than him when it comes to World War II and coming to another country, etc. And you notice that these people who actually experienced the war, the level of resilience is extremely high compared to people from my generation or other generations. And I always wonder how. Not that they didn't carry PTSD or something. Yes, some of them did, obviously. But why people like my grandfather were able to regulate the emotion without going to a therapist, without going to some kind of workshop. I mean, observing, it was very clear that, well, when you're in the wood, surrounded by people who had a similar experience, and your mind goes through a flashback, or you have an emotion, what do? You do nothing. You're with it. You're in nature with people that you trust, at least a minimum. And you just go through that. So what we are proposing here is not new, is not magical. It is a natural capacity that everybody can do. But because of the way we've been educated, because of the way we grew up, because of all the weight we put on ourselves, our family put on us, the work put on us, we lose the sense of priority. If we're not well, if we don't take the time, 90 seconds, even if it's 90 seconds several times during a day, let's remember on those emotions, this pain, this fear will not come back. Isn't it worth it? And I say that, but I still don't do it sometimes, It's human.
I would love for some of it to never come back. That would be way cool. So to do that, I need to take the pause and let it feel safe.
That's
Close
right.
my eyes, be safe, let the experience flow. What if it seems like it's more than 90 seconds?
If it's more than 90 seconds, there is 3 reasons why it will take more than 90 seconds. Reason number 1, your body doesn't feel safe. And maybe you're trying to do a resolution surrounded by colleagues in a meeting and you're not able to put all your attention inside. You're still keeping an ear out to listen to what is being said. That would be a reason. Number 2, it is because maybe unconsciously, you try to control what you feel. So for example, your breath is really what is the most, I would say, triggered in that emotional imprint, in this sensor imprint. And you're going to put extra attention to the breath because you feel like you're about to asphyxiate yourself, and you're going to try to take some breath. That will, impact the prediction. And the last reason, which is linked to the second one, is that you only pay attention to one sensation. And your mind is going to start thinking. So you're not fully engaged in feeling what's going on in your flesh.
Okay.
You let your mind run away, go AWOL.
So making sure that I'm paying attention to multiple.
That's right.
Okay.
The way that we do it with kids, if it helps, and with kids and some adults, is we ask the kids to follow the sensations with their hands. So to put one hand on a sensation where they feel and the other hand somewhere else where they feel another sensation. And then to move the hands as the sensations change in time.
That almost sounds relaxing.
It is, because you have and you have to keep your mind engaged.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and if you're following it with your hand, are you overthinking it, or are you just flowing with the emotion?
Well, if you follow it with your hand and you keep the intention and the attention to really feel what's going on in the body, you're definitely in. Because you have to follow, you have to feel, and then you have to follow. So your mind has nowhere to go.
It's got to keep filling, or it's going to you won't know where to put your hand.
That's right. And it's not easy to keep on filling, right? It's like, for example, if I lift this cup here, if I stop put some intensity in my arm, the cup is going to fall. It is the same for feeling. If you stop feeling, your attention drop and go somewhere else, often nowhere relevant. But feeling is an action.
Yeah.
Just like lifting. Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is going to be fun. Now I'm going to have something trigger so I can try it.
It will happen. It's.
You think I will? No, I know for sure something's going to happen.
Because life happens, right? And it doesn't have to be something big. Try with something smaller, a small frustration. I know you have pets. Sometimes we love our pets, but sometimes they're frustrating. A small frustration. It doesn't matter if it's big or not. It doesn't matter if it makes sense for us to be upset or not. Try it. See the result. So then you can try it on bigger things.
Okay. So even just the smallest frustration, then I can close my eyes, feel the sensation, more than one. Where is it in my body? Follow it with my hands and write out the 90 seconds or whenever. And then it's done.
That's it. That's all it takes. Isn't it crazy?
Yes. Now I'm going to have to test it.
It's absolutely. Please test it. And the way that I advise people when they first hear the information is, it would be nice if you put an emotion in your mind, like choose one emotion you want to resolve that you know is coming back in your life often. Because if you try to get any emotions, you're going to forget about it. Have in mind a specific emotion that you know have been following you and disturbing your life and is not necessary. And make a post-it, make a note on your phone. Do not focus on 1,000 emotions. You're not going to do the process. Pick one emotion so you can really do it consciously. And then after you do it, in the next days, notice if the emotion comes back. You will notice it's not coming back. Then choose another emotion and do it again.
It sounds a little bit too easy. So, let's make it harder. No, I'm just kidding.
But isn't it what we do as human beings?
Yes. I was just thinking, why do I always want to make it harder than it really is?
Mm-hmm. I think because it gives us a sense of control as well. It can't be that easy. That's why I feel, but I think we got to keep it simple, right? I mean, the only animals that hold on to trauma, the only mammals that hold on to trauma are human beings, pets, and some farm animals. And why? Because these are the mammals that receive control from the parents. In our case, we have control from the parents, educators, church, whatever we go through. Pets, we control them. Often we don't let them feel the emotion we hear. We're overbearing to them. So we control the emotion, and this natural capacity doesn't have a chance to develop for some emotion. Same thing for some farm animals. Animals, we control them because we need them to move faster. Let's say a cow or calf is afraid to go down a little step. We're not going to let the calf exposed to the fear, feel the fear and then go down. No, we're going to pull the cow. Or if it's small enough, we're going to carry the cow down. We're controlling.
Yes, we are. And, you know, I've always thought being in control is a good thing because you get to choose instead of react. But if I'm controlling something that I could choose to let go of, it would be wise to let go of control for a moment.
Then you become the master. You become the master of your inner world.
Sounds great. I think this is beautiful. So, Cedric, how could our friend with us get a hold of you or tell them a little bit about what you do?
So to get some information about the work, they can go to emotionalhealthinstitute.org or emres.com, EMRES.com. And the Emotional Health Institute is a nonprofit organization that we created for education. And we teach about emotions and in depth how to resolve debilitating emotional pattern. We train professionals, therapists, coaches, nurses to do this work with their clients or their patients. Because sometimes, as you said, we cannot do this resolution because of life, right? We have to take care of our kids. We have to take care of our parents, work. So we cannot do it in the moment. So that's why we train people that knows exactly how to trigger specifically emotions and resolve them in the safety of a session. And working with people also, with practitioners, also allow you to resolve emotions that are more unconscious, such as the shame, the guilt, all those emotions that we don't want to look at because they do not fit with who we want to be out there often. So we deny them because they're not us. So practitioner will help you to do that, to welcome those emotions and resolve them so they stop following you. So yeah, emotionalhealthinstitute.org, you will find our classes, our courses. We offer free courses every month. I think they are $8 to understand clearly how emotions are made and how to resolve them. We offer professional trainings and a list of certified practitioners as well.
Okay, so all that information is in the show notes. So give us that one thing. What is that one thing I could try right now or in next time I feel triggered? Is it close my eyes?
That's right. I think the first thing is decide on an emotion you want to let go. And once you have that, open your awareness, your radar, so to speak, to when you feel it. And as soon as you feel it, don't move through it. You feel it, puff. That's the sign. Close your eyes. Make sure you can do that properly and without any wonder, and go through the process and notice how it changes your life.
Okay, we
Try
have our one
first.
thing, and it might be one with a massive benefit. Sometimes the one thing's a little benefit, but this should work really well if we can just, I was going to say let go, but allow it. Right?
Integrate it. Those emotions that keeps on coming back, they're pieces of our life that we were not able to integrate. The pieces of our life that were stolen from us by some events. To put ourselves in them, allow us not to let go or erase them, but to integrate the information so that the brain can learn finally from it and live on. It's not even moving on, it's living on, integrating an information that was too intense for us to take on at the time when we lived it. It's integrating all parts of our life.
Okay. I'm going to integrate it, not try to get rid of it. I love
That's
that because it's always like, well, what do I replace it with?
And that's the thing. It's like it's already something missing. Integrate it so it becomes part of your existence.
Okay, we can do that. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. And I learned a lot. I'm sure our friend learned a lot. So Thank you for joining. Friend Cedric and I are not medical or mental licensed professionals. We're here for entertainment. People that have found a path that works for us and want to help you shine a light on your path to get to where you're going. Thank you for joining, and stay tuned for the next episode.
Thank you.
Are you tired of waking up exhausted? You are not alone. If you're looking to take your life back, let's start with the simple step of adjusting your self-talk. Stay tuned for the next episode with your host, Lara Jane. Remember to follow the show so you don't miss the next simple step that you can use to feel more confident. And please leave an honest review.